Welcome back to Rand on Real Estate. My name is Greg Rand. I'm your host on 77 WABC and WABCRadio.com. And I'm beside myself again. Robert Shiller, the founder of the Shiller Index that comes out every month and spawns a gazillion press reports, always negative, always volatile. We talk about him a lot here because he's one of these people that hasn't got a clue. I think he still lives in student housing or faculty housing out at Yale. He hasn't got a clue, yet he's one of the most prominent experts on the housing market because he basically forecasted the housing bubble and then characterized it as a housing meltdown and a free fall and a collapse ever since. And I want to jump back to him today because he's back in the news again. And here's an interview with Reuters. This week where he was asked about the prospects of a recovery of the housing market. And what he said here is that there is a general sense of unease among consumers because of high gas prices and a weak labor market. And so therefore, quote, I worry that we might not see a really major turnarounds in the housing market in our lifetimes. So, gas prices, they don't go up and down. Gas prices going up means this is the new reality. It's always going to be this way. So he has now extended his negativity to a generation. The headline is U.S. housing rebound could take an entire generation. All right. We've talked a lot here about the fact that the housing bubble was predictable. If not predictable, it was explainable. It was based upon a lot of people getting mortgages they couldn't pay back, and then Wall Street leveraging those loans to the hilt. And so things went sideways. The economy goes into a recession. Housing prices were driven up. Housing prices corrected and have now been driven down because of that whole situation. Is it a generational housing crisis, Dr. Shiller? Well, the point I want to make is this. This is a guy who is never comfortable talking about anything positive. He is a king of misery. He has gotten rich and famous, predicting doom and gloom. He has sold books. He has done a lot of things based upon the idea that he can always predict something is going to get worse. I want to play you an audio because he was asked, this was actually last year. He was asked because the Shiller Index had a blip upward, and everybody asked him, Dr. Shiller, does this mean the housing market's recovering? Now, the kind of confidence this guy speaks with when he's talking about the market going into the toilet, such confidence, such resolve, right? Listen to him bumble and fumble and stammer as people ask him, does this mean we have a recovery coming? Here's Dr. Shiller. Play that clip.
Well, it's hard to be sure because there is some positive sentiment developing among some people. Some people think this is a great buying opportunity. Well, I can't put numbers on it, but something like a 50-50. While they're rising, they may fall. So I don't know.
All right, so 50-50 chance. I don't, while they rise, they may fall. This is the epitome of clueless. A third grader could have made that speech, right? What are home prices going to do? Well, they might rise or they might fall. Thank you, doctor. But this could take an entire generation. Buy my book. Point is this, all right? He doesn't know anything about housing. He probably lives in faculty housing in Yale. He probably hasn't even bought his own house, except now that he's a gazillionaire because of all the money he's made by scaring the crap out of people. He is clueless. Don't listen to him. And then if there are media outlets like Reuters here that run a headline like that based upon something that that guy says, understand you are smarter. By virtue of listening to this show, you're smarter than these guys are about the housing market. They're looking at old data, and they don't stand back far enough to recognize the fact that, are you kidding me? Gas prices being high over the last couple of months is a harbinger of a generational housing crisis? I never heard of anything so stupid in my life. So don't listen to him. Don't let him get to you. Learn about the housing market for yourself. Take one of our free courses, because you know what? Once you see the long-term chart, you understand exactly where we are and exactly where we're going, and I'll give you a hint. After every housing crisis, after every American recession, comes an American revival. And if you can own pieces of the country as it revives, you're going to do well. This is Greg Rand. You're listening to Rand on Real Estate on 77 WABC. When we come back, we're going to take your calls. So give us a ring, 800-848-WABC.